Okay, I'm going to do another celebrity today. Angela Hartnett. Do you know her? She is a chef. Um, I think I first heard about her or saw her on Great British Bake Off as a guest judge. I then came to know her a little bit more through her podcast, Dish, which I've tried listening to, and I didn't really get into it, but I have seen good clips from it on TikTok. And that's actually how I experience some podcasts. I think that's how I start off experiencing a lot of podcasts now, just seeing clips on TikTok. And sometimes that's all I really need. I don't really need to listen to the whole thing. I'm trying to give an example. Well, I guess that's how I was consuming Caleb Huron's podcast for a long time, but now I actually do listen to it. Giggly Squad, I only watch clips. Sexy Unique podcast, I actually also started listening to that about a month ago, but for a long time it was just clips. And actually I haven't seen any clips of Dish, but I think that the actual podcast itself didn't live up to the clips. And I think it's also very guest dependent because it's a guest show. And there's a co-host who I like. What is his name? Nick. I don't know him from anything else, but anyway, he's pretty funny. Okay, so let me set the stage a little bit. Last time I did Nigella Lawson as our celebrity food log. Her food log is part of a Guardian article from October 2012 that features 6 celebrity foodie food diaries, mostly chefs, a critic or two. And I'm going to do Angela Hartnett because she's the only other person on this list that I know. And know is a loose word. I just know her from those 2 appearances. But I like her energy. I did do a little bit of Wikipedia reading on her because I do know so little about her. Apparently she was a protege of Gordon Ramsay. According to a Wikipedia page, he has often referred to her as a bitch, which I thought was pretty rude. But not surprising. And she grew up with a Italian mother and grandmother, raised by them. And the grandmother was a dinner lady, which I had to look up. That's what a lunch lady is called in England. Which makes sense. I mean, dinner used to be the term for the midday meal. I think I talked about this last time, how my mother-in-law calls dinner, when she says Sunday dinner, she means Sunday lunch. And it shifted over time as agriculture has fallen out of everybody's lifestyles. So, Angela. There's a photo of her in a chef's uniform. She has 2 loose, long bang tendrils that looks like she's growing out, falling on the side of her face, and her hair is pulled back, and she's smiling. Dramatic shadowing contrast photo. She's in front of a doorway. Okay, let's see what she's eating. Well, there's a description first. Few chefs get 3 square meals a day. Sometimes I'm lucky to get 1, but I pick at stuff through service so I don't go hungry. Looking back, I should eat breakfast more, but that would mean being organized first thing, which is not a strong point. Okay, so guys, it's going to be another celebrity that doesn't eat a lot. I'm just warning you now. Monday, breakfast, black coffee like every day. Lunch, a day off, so went to see my mother. We had a nice minestrone. Dinner, nuts, beans, Salad leaves and beetroot, all bought at Aldeburgh Food Festival at the weekend. Okay. So, she had a minestrone soup with her Italian mother. That's very nice. I was going through a phase where I was eating vegetable soup for a couple months all the time until Brian lost his mind and said, we need to eat something besides soup. But it is really so healthy and a great way to use vegetables if you have a ton of vegetables like we do. So she had black coffee for breakfast. Okay. Nuts, beans, salad leaves, and beetroot. That is a strange. She didn't eat a lot of calories this day. I'm gonna say. Nuts, beans, salad leaves, and beetroots. Is that a salad? It's. So I'm looking up this Aldeburgh Food Festival that she has referenced. There is a link. There's a countdown clock. The festival is 22 days from now, so buy your tickets. It's happening on the 27th and the 28th of September. And it looks really exciting. Sponsored by some hotels. I wonder how much tickets are. Okay. So, good for you. Tuesday, breakfast, coffee, then to Murano for service. That keeps you going as you pick and taste right through. Dinner, late supper at the Green Man and French Horn on St. Martin's Lane. I joined friends after service, so hovered up the remains of what they had been eating, zander, partridge, leeks, eggs, and rounded things off with an ace jam tart. Okay, this is insane. You just had coffee for breakfast, and then you didn't eat until late night supper. Typical celebrity behavior. Okay, what is Murano? It must be one of her restaurants. An unbuttoned celebration of Italian cuisine by Angela Hartnett. Okay, so that makes sense. She's Italian. The website is lovely and gorgeous. Great website. Looks like she has a cookbook out called The Weekend Cook. Good food for real life. Okay. Good for you. So that looks nice. I mean, I'm seeing small portions, the classic medallion of fish in sauce with individual carrots, dessert on plate, very tiny dessert on plate with squiggles. And then what is this Green Man and French Horn? I don't think it exists anymore because it took me to just a general restaurant in London page. So maybe that restaurant is defunct. I don't know what zander is. Let me look that up real quick. Zander, partridge. Oh, it's a fish. Okay. I believe. Yeah. It's a pike perch. Okay. I don't know anything about fish, to be honest, even though I grew up in New England. And then Ace Jam Tart. I need to look that up. Ace Jam Tart. Of course, David Leibowitz has a recipe for that. My mom is a really big fan of David Leibowitz. I see his recipe sometime. I had to stop reading his blog because he cuts tomatoes wrong, and I've talked about this before, but when he cuts tomatoes, he tells you to put it like, you know how a tomato is drawn with the main indentation on the top facing north, which is the stem end, the blossom end, the tinier, the perfectly round on the bottom. You're supposed to store it the other way around, where the roundest part of the tomato is facing north, because that is the best part and the most delicate part. So you need the stem end, the shoulders, to be facing downwards to hold the weight of the juicy blossom end. and he just cuts it straight across. Really, you want to start at the juicy blossom end and cut from there. And then what you're left with is the shoulders, the heel, and you just throw that away. Otherwise, if you just cut the tomato straight across, you have a piece of shoulder in every piece, which you don't want. Okay, easy jam tart from David Leibowitz. That looks good. It kind of reminds me of that Spanish dessert. What's the Spanish dessert that's baked with the jam in it? Jam pie. Someone has to know what I'm talking about. Anyway, there's this Spanish gâteau basque is what I was thinking of, which when I worked at that French patisserie Good Ambler in Chicago in the Mondelez building, I worked through Thanksgiving, and so we had a ton of pie orders, and there were a few pies that nobody picked up, and one of them was a gâteau basque. And I was so excited to try that. I didn't make, well, did I make any of the pies? I don't think so. I had to make all of the savory items. So I was super excited to bring home a gâteau basque and was so severely disappointed in it. And this is the only gâteau basque I've ever had. I love anything with like a raspberry jam. I think that's what was inside of it. But the jam and the filling was completely absorbed into the pastry. So it was just a very dry, lifeless experience. And I don't know if it was just baked wrong, if there wasn't enough filling. I mean, I didn't make it. And I don't even know if they tested the recipe enough. I think they just decided to make a gâteau basque. But super disappointing. I would love to have a proper gâteau basque that actually has filling in it when you cut it open. I definitely, well, maybe I could make it. Doesn't seem like too difficult. I'm on this Epicurious recipe. Ooh, it's a Epicurious recipe by Claire Saffitz from 2022. Sturdy tart, native to the French Basque country. Fresh or frozen sweet cherries with pastry cream. Yeah, I don't love pastry cream. Great for a dinner party, highly transportable. Well, it didn't survive the 20-minute drive back to my house from the restaurant I worked at, so I don't know. I guess I'm going to blame the people who made it and not the actual recipe or the dessert as a whole, until I can taste more, see for myself. Okay, so back to Angela and her day of not eating. I'm sure you're tasting things as you go through service. I mean, I'm trying to think back to when I worked at restaurants. Yeah, I would probably have one meal before I went into service, and then I was starving. But at least I ate a meal before service, because service, you're starting prep at, in the afternoon. So you need to be eating something before that. But there was always something to eat. I mean, it was always crazy busy, but if you could, you'd have some rice or, something didn't turn out, you get to eat it on the side. But yeah, eating during service is very stressful. So I guess I understand that. So Wednesday, breakfast. I actually had some time today. So grapefruit with the usual coffee, more treat than habit. Lunch. Staff lunch is always at 10:45 a.m. Today it was leftover veg turned into a stew or pasta. And that's it. I guess there's no dinner. Oh, did she forget it? Okay, so she had coffee with a grapefruit for breakfast and staff lunch at 10:45 a.m. Okay, so staff lunch is okay. So she's in the restaurant a little bit earlier than. Okay. This is insane. Okay. Leftover veg turned into a stew or pasta. What do you mean it was turned into a stew or pasta? You had the option? I guess you had stew and pasta for lunch. Okay, so I don't know. I'm a little lost. She needs to be eating more, I think. Um, and then below this insane day, Wednesday, there are 4 photos. There's a photograph of a pie, which must be the Ace Jam tart. There is a very blurry photograph of what looks to be a rye and egg sandwich. There is a photo of a salad, and there is a photo of a slice of pie or tart of some kind. So maybe that's the Ace tart. It's really difficult to say. And the caption below it is Angela Hartnett, quote, "Looking back, I should eat more breakfast." Thursday, coffee first, as always, then testing for a private party. Couscous salad with hot smoked salmon. Stayed on for lunch service, picked my way to lunch. Dinner. Spent afternoon on admin and errands, so headed to Murano. Pasta with bread. High in carbs. Okay, this is really, I think she has some eating difficulties. Well, so she had couscous and salmon picked around for lunch, and then had pasta with bread for dinner. So that's probably the most she's eaten so far. You know, she's also like the Nigella Lawson food diary. I mean, neither of them are really eating, or at least they're not reporting to eat a lot. But I will say that this diary is very short. There aren't a lot of details compared to Nigella, who was more poetic about her busy mornings and what she was doing in the day, and it was a little bit more interesting. Friday, dinner. Pretty much what I ate on Wednesday, except I came home to a slice of spinach tart. It's a thing of beauty when made well, but I have to admit this was not the best. Still, the spinach came from Mom's garden. Okay, so that sounds great, but Friday you only ate dinner. Pretty much what I ate on Wednesday. So what even was that? Because on Wednesday you only had breakfast and lunch. You didn't have dinner on Wednesday, so I don't know what you're referring to. Saturday. Late breakfast coffee and toasted St. John bread. It's so handy to have the bakery right round the corner. Lunch, running late again and had to get to work, so just a quick salad. Dinner. Good job I had something light earlier, because tonight I had a huge action against hunger meal. Claude Bossy's buckwheat soup, Tom Carriage's slow-cooked hake, carrot puree and lardo, Phil Howard's roast guinea fowl with semolina gnocchi, and Andrew Fairley's chocolate hedgehog. Oh, that sounds fantastic, and I'm glad that you're eating bread and salad. Am I eating too much? Like, maybe I'm eating too much, but I don't know. It feels to me like maybe she's not eating enough. Okay, Sunday. Breakfast. To Nordic Bakery with my nephew, who loves the place. Egg and herrings on rye bread, while the kids ate their way through cinnamon buns and rye muffins. Numerous coffees too, obviously. Lunch. Had family over. Made some salads, sardines on toast and fennel, and linguine with vongole. Well, I don't know what that is. Chili and garlic. No dessert because I didn't get to St. John in time to pick out some of their donuts. They always sell out so early. Okay, that seems like an excuse. You're a chef and you live in London. I'm sure you could find a dessert. Oh, vongole is Italian for clams. Spaghetti alle vongole. Okay. That was insane. I mean, she does look rather slender in the photo that she posted of herself, or that she had taken for this article. I mean, she's obviously older now. She's put on some weight, some probably healthy weight. I'm glad she's eating again, but she does look very slender in this photo. Seems chaotic. I mean, I'm assuming maybe this is wrong to assume that she also has children that she's tending to. I mean, maybe her life is chaotic. I feel like my boss never eats because she is running around constantly dealing with kids and eats fruit in the middle of the day and doesn't have time to eat. Um, and sometimes I feel like that if I have a chaotic day, I don't have time to eat. But I don't know. This is puzzling to me. Maybe a little bit concerning. Um, maybe, that she didn't eat anything. So maybe I'm going to read from somebody else. Tom Parker Bowles. We don't know who that is. The primary requisite for writing well about food, mused the great A.J. Liebling, is a good appetite. Without this, it is impossible to accumulate enough experience of eating to have anything worth setting down. Each day brings only 2 opportunities for field work, and they are not to be wasted minimizing the intake of cholesterol. They are indispensable, like a prizefighter's hours upon the road. Far be it from me to contradict AJ, but with training, that field work can be stretched to at least 5 instances a day. The first bit of this week was fairly normal, the second more grueling, as I was in the U.S. to flog my new book, and to miss out on a raft of New York newbies and old favorites would be remiss. Well, that's my excuse. Who are you? Let me Google this man. I've actually heard of him, but I cannot tell you who he is. He's a British food writer. Okay, so not a chef, so maybe this person will be eating. Wow, his name is actually Thomas Henry Charles Parker Bowles. Oh, is he related to Camilla? Oh my goodness, that's why. His mother is Camilla. Parker Bowles. Thomas Henry Charles Parker Bowles. Oh my goodness. His stepfather and godfather is King Charles. Oh my goodness. Well, I don't really have any skin in the game with the royal family, but I would argue that his mother is fairly loathed, and that's sort of coloring my opinion of him. It's not very fair, but let's see what this guy's life is like. Okay, Monday, breakfast, nothing at all, but that's pretty much normal for me. Lunch, Tom Yum Goong soup at Tawana on Westburn Grove, followed by larb gai and myang kum, hot as buggery. Dinner, couscous with pickled chilies and harissa, a bowl of lentils, and a drumstick for pudding. Okay, you are eating some great stuff. I love a larb. I don't know what myang kum is. Let me just look it up real quick. I love that he ate a drumstick, like the ice cream drumstick for dessert. Myang kum is the 1-bite wrap consisting of coconut, peanuts, ginger, lime, shallots, chilies, dried shrimp, all bundled in a fresh betel leaf. Sounds great. I love that. Lettuce wrap. The American lettuce wrap. Okay. Couscous. Yeah, so he's eating somewhat normally. I mean, he's not eating breakfast. Okay. Tuesday, breakfast, a rare occurrence, fruit and carrots. Lunch, haddock and potato soup. And then place at Hereford Road, a rather more regular occurrence. Dinner, boiled egg and soldiers. Okay, let's see where he's eating. Hereford Road. Oh, after 17 wonderful years, Hereford Road is now closed. Thank you to our customers. You've been a true delight. There's a beautiful photo of a table, and the restaurant is closed. Okay. Fruit and carrots is a strange breakfast. Haddock and potato soup. What is Plaice? Oh, it's fish. Okay. So you had 2 lunches. You had soup at home, and then you went out for lunch. I love a boiled egg with soldiers. Okay, so we have a group of 6 photographs under this entry. We have a photograph of boiled eggs and soldiers. The egg is softly done and it's in an egg cup. There's a bowl of Thai food, the Thai wraps, raw oysters on half shell, a really scary close-up flash photograph of sushi, sashimi mostly, some sort of salad, and then a box of gobstoppers. The quote beneath it from Tom Parker Bowles is, "Breakfast, are you kidding?" Wednesday, breakfast and lunch. Typical last-minute rush to get ready to go to Philadelphia for filming, so didn't get round to eating a thing all day until I sat down to fish pie on the 5 p.m. BA flight from Heathrow T5. Just about okay. Wow, imagine a flight full of fish pies. Dinner. Landed in New York City around 8:30 p.m. and went straight to dinner at Smith & Wollensky, a brutally monolithic onion and tomato salad, and then a gargantuan New York strip that was not as good as it thought it was. Smith & Wollensky, I always hear, I mean, they have commercials, so, right? They have commercials. Any steakhouse that, you don't want to go to a steakhouse that has commercials, in my opinion. How many locations do they have? That's my question. Find us. Find. Oh. Oh, visit the others. So their main restaurant is in New York, but locations. Thank you. You have to click through to another website to find their other locations. Burlington, Massachusetts, Boston, Wellesley, Massachusetts, Chicago, Las Vegas, Miami Beach, London, New York, Taipei, Seoul, Taichung, Manila, Kuala Lumpur, Tokyo. Okay, so you flew to New York and went to a steakhouse that also exists in London that you could have just eaten at. You went to a chain restaurant. You flew to New York to go to a chain restaurant. Okay. Thursday, mid-morning, a day in Philly. Cheesesteak sandwich at Jim's, a touch bland, should have added onions, then a hot dog. Good bun and topping, but the sausage lacks snap and smoke. Good local fizzy drink. Dinner, oysters, clams, and lobster roll at Sanson Street Oyster House. I think I've heard of Jim's in Philly. I hear it's one of the best. But I think also the only time I had a cheesesteak in Philly, I too was disappointed. I wish he would say what the good local fizzy drink is. I wonder if they're not allowed to say. No, they're allowed to say brand names. He said he had a drumstick. He's talking about gobstoppers. I wonder if there was a. Why won't he say the name of the local fizzy drink? Maybe he didn't remember. Sanson Street Oyster House. I don't know that at all. Philly's best seafood. Okay. They have something on their menu, well, the menu of their website, called Lobster Party. The Oyster House Lobster Party is our version of a New England-style clam bake party. Grab your friends, family, or coworkers. Minimum of 6 people. $55 a person gets you steamed Maine lobster, shrimp, clams, and mussels, corn and potatoes, slaw and fries. You can do a raw bar add-on for $23 a person, which gets you raw oysters, clams, shrimp, and shrimp cocktail. There's a booze add-on for $25 a person, and it is all you can drink. But you have to choose from House Red and White, Love City Lager, or Kelly's Punch. I guess that's a good deal. Friday. Didn't eat all day because I was in and out of QVC's studio. Ended up in some bar for the evening for a much-needed drink. They did a good burger, too. Saturday, mid-morning snack, still in New York, gobstoppers to keep me going. Lunch to Tomoe Sushi, one of the best in town for spicy tuna tartare and eel otoro, among other things. Dinner, Blue Smoke's Memphis ribs. Not enough smoke, but the pulled pork was pretty damn good. I can't believe he flew to New York and is eating gob stoppers and Blue Smoke. You don't even remember the name of the bar that you went to get a burger? What was he selling on QVC? That's what I need to know. I guess his book. Maybe some tops, some fun tops. Sunday. Breakfast. Are you kidding? Lunch. Sunday lunch at Mapesh. To start, a broth of glorious, beefy, greasy depth, the sort you want to dive into, filled with chunks of wobbling tendon. And then, of course, David Chang's pork buns, world famous, still world class. Dinner. Il Buco Alimentari e Vineria in the East Village. Good food, noisy though. Home-cured salumi were damn good. And then spaghetti con botarga, sweetly saline. So actually 2012, he went to Mapesh, was actually the era that I worked for Momofuku as well. Mapesh was the place to go. I worked at Momofuku Milk Bar in Williamsburg at their commissary. And, I think that was, I don't know what David Chang is doing now other than selling grocery store products and mass-produced ramen. But at the time, the alleged stories that were happening, I think, speaking of all these celebrities, the toxic restaurant culture was coming top down. So it was coming from David Chang, and it permeated into Momofuku Milk Bar to a lesser extent, but it was still there. In a lot of ways, I am thankful that was one of my first restaurant jobs, because the standards were really high at Momofuku. All their establishments, the standards were super high, and it was a very strict culture that primed me for other restaurant work. Really set the bar high, so that every restaurant following that, I just knew exactly how things needed to go, and it wasn't a shock. It wasn't like, oh, now I have to work harder. It kind of got easier from there. But I think long term, you can't keep a happy staff with some of the other practices that were going on. I don't even know if I can talk about them, but things were happening. And David Chang was you can read articles about it where people claim they were abused by him. I think alcohol was a problem. This is all alleged. And anyway, it was an interesting time. Momofuku was very trendy. We would have celebrities stop by. I remember Aziz Ansari would stop by the commissary and ended up dating one of our pastry chefs for a long time, which was a little bit creepy. He was kind of creeping around the commissary and, picked one of the hot girls to date. That's what it felt like at the time. I don't really know what actually happened, but actually, when my dad and my sister came to visit me at one point, I think they helped me move, and I was really mad because they picked out the smallest car that my family had. They only had 2 cars, but they chose the smaller one and drove down to New York to help me move with the smaller vehicle, which I thought was insane. Took all day, and I took them to Noodle Bar after. Momofuku Noodle Bar. Momofuku Noodle Bar is great, and Aziz Ansari was eating there. So he was planted in the Momofuku scene for a little bit. I don't know what he was up to, but Anyway, um, so that was kind of a shock and a surprise. Angela Hartnett and her somewhat um, lack of food diary, if you will. And then sort of drifting into this New York experience from a British person, which I wasn't expecting. But that's kind of fun to not have another person eating in London, but Philly and New York. And to top it all off, he is the son of a reviled figure in the royal family. Um, I guess it makes me, every, the conversation around like nepotism and who gets to be a food critic, especially in England, I suppose. I mean, you're the son of the Queen of England. I'm sure it was just, you're going to restaurants anyway, you're eating great food. How much more difficult is it to become? I would like to know how he became a restaurant critic besides nepotism. Like, what are his qualifications? He's the author of 9 cookbooks. Career. From 97 to 2000, Parker Bowles was a junior publicist for Dennis Davidson Associates. In 99, there were newspaper reports that he took cocaine at the Cannes Film Festival. In 2001, he became Tatler's food columnist. Okay, that's quite a jump. Since 2002, he's been a food writer, critic, and broadcaster. He's the restaurant critic of the Mail on Sunday and food editor of Esquire. He's also a contributing editor to Condé Nast Traveler and Departures, as well as a regular contributor to Country Life, Harper's Bazaar, and Town and Country. He was a contributor to Gordon Ramsay's food magazine television show, The F Word. So he's worked for everybody. I guess he's a hard worker. Then he presented on the Good Food Channel. Obviously, he's on QVC, probably promoting his cookbooks, business ventures. In 2011, launched a pork scratching snack named Mr. Trotter's Great British Pork Cracklings. Following good reviews and successful sales of the snack, they launched a beer brand named Mr. Trotter's Chestnut Ale, which was produced in partnership with the Lancaster Brewing Company, is considered to be the first chestnut beer made in the UK. Mr. Trotter's has since begun expanding and creating different types of products. I feel like I've heard of this. Personal life. There is not a section on scandals, unfortunately, but except for his cocaine scandal. He got married. Okay, great. Oh. And then he got divorced. Then he started dating a journalist who died from cancer after they got together. Okay. So interesting guy. He is 50 years old, just in case you want to know. Okay. So, let's stop there. That was jam-packed with celebrities. And I think we've had enough of celebrities for a while. They need to start eating more, I would say. And bye-bye.